time, my friend. Could you do the honours? Thank you, Ollie. Come on, everyone. Give us a cheer for the last act, Alex Petrovic. Give it up for Alex Boardman, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Manchester Comedy Store, fantastic. And thank you for that lovely introduction. Introductions are important in comedy. And with a name like Alex Petrovic doing comedy, you hear some bizarre pronunciations of a foreign surname. And to be honest, it doesn't really bother me, that sort of thing, normally. I'm quite easygoing, I let that sort of thing go. And then a couple months ago, an MC missed 2 letters off the end of my surname. And you're thinking, Alex, you probably shouldn't be so precious about that sort of thing. And then you realise that this MC introduced me to stage as Alexander Petrov. And that was a week after it was confirmed that that was the alias of one of the Salisbury Novichok suspects. And believe you me, do you know what? That creates a certain level of tension in the room. At least if my attempts to make them laugh fail, I can go, it is all right, I am not comedian, I am just tourist. But what was the audience thinking that night? Are they thinking, well, that interview they did on Russian national television, that's clearly not cleared their name. So they're now going to clear their name by breaking the UK comedy circuit. Good evening, I am Alexander Petrov. I will be doing some observational comedy for you this evening. Don't you hate it when you're on holiday in Salisbury and you get accused of being an international assassin? What's that all about? Airplane food, am I right? I will now do controversial politics material for you. Has anybody else noticed just how great Putin is? If you enjoy my act, I have mailing list. Do not worry about providing me with your email address. I, of course, already have all of your details. Please enjoy your complimentary perfume under your chair. Growing up in England with a foreign surname like Petrovic, English school kids, oh, they have some fun with a foreign surname, don't they? Oh, they get creative. Alex Petrovic. That soon became Alex Petri Dish. Alex Retro Prick. And my personal favourite, Alex Petrol Bitch. My surname, it's not a Russian surname, it's a Serbian surname. My granddad came from Serbia. He was a very proud Eastern European man, very proud of his heritage. And it always used to show itself in really bizarre ways. So he used to say to me things like, Alex, I hate English orange juice. English orange juice, it is shit. The oranges in Belgrade, they were so pure. Went round his house. What he was actually drinking was neat orange squash. That's why it's shit, mate. And I love that Eastern European logic as well. It's so no-nonsense, so black and white, just down the middle. I went for dinner with him once, and my granddad ordered steak, and the waiter asked him, and how would you like that steak cooked? And my granddad looked the waiter in the eyes and went, good. My grandmother was Croatian. She, her way of pronouncing things, it ended up being this conversational riddle. You had to guess completely what she was trying to say. Let's see if some of you can work out some of the things she was trying to say. It's a difficult one, so bear with me. Bite size. Bite size. Probably makes more sense than what it actually was. That was Weetabix bite size. That was unfair. That was a difficult one. I'll give you more of an easy one now. Okay. Zoop. Zoop. What do you think that is? Soup. Soup? That's a very good guess. That was actually 7-Up. I'll tell you what's been going on with me lately. I've been in the wars. Had to go to A&E quite recently. Apparently, you can't put a button-up squash up your ass. I am, of course, joking. A&E. It's an intense experience, A&E. But the weird thing about what they do now is 2 days later, A&E sent me a text message, and it read, "Thank you for your recent visit." How likely are you to recommend us to your family and friends? I didn't realise that we had options in accidents and emergencies. Like, who has ever gone, oh my God, you've broken your ankle, we need to get you to A&E. Oh, fuck off. Have you seen the TripAdvisor reviews? And I had 5 operations last year. 5 operations. That's far too many operations for a normal human being. I had so many operations. If the NHS did loyalty cards, I'm 1 operation away from a free coffee. And I'm so ill, I get ill all the time. I've got bad tonsils at the moment. I get injured all the time. My friends say to me funny things like, oh, Alex, you're always so sick and injured all the time. You should probably live in a bubble. Really, if you're really my friends, if you really knew me, you'd know that if I lived in a bubble, I'd probably end up being allergic to that bubble. And I got concussion last year as well. That's an intense experience. It makes you really out of character. And I don't want to brag, but I'm normally quite good at stopping an autocorrect before it, just slips straight into the atmosphere. And I'm in a family WhatsApp group, which is dangerous enough as it is. Now, in this family WhatsApp group, my cousin was arranging for us all to meet up, and she sent to the WhatsApp group, we'll all be there at 12, and Alex will arrive at 1. And what I went to send to my family WhatsApp group was, I'll come later, actually. What I sent to my family WhatsApp group was, I'll come later, sexually. Oh, dear. And then I saw, with concussion as well, I saw someone at work, like a few days after I'd had a concussion, and I'd never seen this person before in my life, and they went for a high five, and I'm quite a socially awkward person. I was like, do you know what? I should probably high five them back. It'd be rude not to. So I properly went for it. Like, I took a run up. But it was only as I connected with them, I realised they were actually trying to wave at someone behind me. Wish that wasn't true. Something else happened to me at work, which is quite weird. The girl that sits next to me, her name's Lucy. And one day she was singing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And this guy walked past our desk and he was like, what's that? What's that song you're singing? And she goes, oh, it's the Beatles. And he went, Beatles? Nah, mate, nah, don't really like the Beatles. But then again, I also don't like Ollie Murs. I was like, what has that got to do with anything? Well, the only link there is that they're both musicians, and let's be honest, one's barely a musician. I'm trying to imagine, what's this guy like in on a Saturday night in with his friends? Oh, Jimmy, should we get a takeaway later? What do you feel like? Should we get a Chinese? Chinese. Nah, mate, no, I don't really like Chinese. But then again, I also don't like Ollie Murs. My sister said something equally as ridiculous to me last year. She was going to a music gig, and I called her up. I said, oh, do you know who the support band is? And she said, with a very excited tone, yeah, it's the Doors. And I said, really? Not sure the Doors are still gigging. And if they are, don't think they're supporting Steps. And my sister got very defensive. Alex, I'm not being stupid. I'm here at the venue. It says quite clearly on the poster, 6:30 Doors. Bear in mind, this is the same person who, and I quote, says she's allergic to alcohol because the next day she feels a bit sick. My parents are quite weird people. My mum's got a nickname for me, actually. She calls me her little lottery win. Oh, that's cute, isn't it? She says, Alex, I don't need to win the lottery because I've got you, which would mean a great deal more had she actually stopped playing the lottery. But I don't mind that nickname. Don't mind it, because my dad's nickname for me is the scratch card of disappointment. They used to tell me a lot of lies when I was younger, so I was quite a fussy eater. Didn't like eating things like cheese, so my mum had to trick me into eating it. So she told me what I was in fact eating wasn't cheese, but Dutch white chocolate. So there was a good period of my childhood where I thought Baby Bells were giant chocolate buttons. And we used to go to Amsterdam quite a lot. I remember one trip, sir, I was 8 years old and we accidentally ended up in the red light district. And rather than tell me the truth, do you know what my dad told me that I was experiencing? Dutch Halloween. Quite taken back by the red lights, to be honest. I can actually remember naively asked my dad later that same evening after dinner, oh, Dad, on the way back to the hotel, can we go back past all the Dutch Halloween celebrations? And my dad turned to me and he said, do you know what, my boy? I think we can. And people say things like, Alex, didn't that scar you? Don't things like that scar you when you're a child? And to be honest, things like that won't scar you. What will scar you is from the ages of 9 to 12, I went to Halloween parties in PVC and carrying a whip. They're not too great with technology as well, my parents. And my dad's trying to get the hang of hashtags. He sort of knows what a hashtag is, but he doesn't really understand the context in which to use it. So my dad started sending them to me in direct text messages. My dad sent me a text and it read, Alex, do you want to come for dinner? Hashtag fajitas. Mexican food's clearly trending in the Petrovic household. Give me a cheer if you've ever had to teach an elderly relative how to use technology. I mean, some of you sounded far too excited about that. It is a soul-destroying task. So my parents, they've got this iPad. And every time I go around there, this iPad is on 2% battery. And that is because every single app that has ever existed on that iPad is still open to this day. I've shown them so many times, if you just swipe that app and it close it down, save so much battery. My parents go, oh, what a great tip. I'll remember that. Go around there 2 weeks later, all those apps are open again. Now riddle me this. That iPad has never left the house. Why have they been using the compass? They watch a lot of shit TV as well, my parents. One program they watch a lot of is X on the Beach. And for those of you who've never seen that program, you're lucky. And, and two, it's basically one of those programs where there's a bunch of single people and they all live on this island. And to spice things up, every now and then they just throw in somebody's ex. But the amazing thing about X on the Beach is, at some point on every episode, at least one contestant goes, oh my God, I can't believe my ex is here. Are you surprised you're on a beach as well? That's like going on Countdown and going, all right, stop fucking rushing me. Moved out, my parents now live on my own. I don't mind living on my own, but the thing I find quite difficult is buying food for one person. Because what I didn't realise before is as soon as you open up food, you inadvertently set off this food expiration date time bomb. Like, even if the expiry date is 2 weeks in the future, as soon as you open something, you now get 3 days to consume all of it. Like, I can't think to myself anymore, do you know what? I feel like a cup of tea. I'm just going to open some milk. I've got to sit down and ask myself a serious question. Can I commit to 57 cups of tea in the next 3 days? Like, food at this point is no longer about enjoyment. It's actually about practicality. If I'm having pesto pasta for dinner Monday, you better believe it's on the menu Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then when you go to the shops as well, you're not really thinking things through, are you? You're like, oh, that'll be nice for my dinner, I'll get that. Oh, halloumi, I've not tried that. Oh, that'll be amazing. And you get home really excited and you realise everything you've just bought expires tomorrow. And then it hits you. Whew, tonight I'm having 7 dinners. And you know when you've got food that's going off as well? That's when you start panicking and think, oh, I've got to use this food up. And that's when you start throwing these things together. Dishes are created that should never, ever be created. And I'll give you an example of this. A few nights ago, I had a dish that I'm going to have to call fish finger stir fry. Bloody delicious. And my friends, they'll say to me things like, Alex, oh, do you want to come out for a drink later? Do you want to come out for a drink? And I've got to be honest with them. No. I've got a family-sized pack of grapes I need to be getting on with. Trying to be more healthy. It's normally one moment that signals out to you that you've got to make a lifestyle change. And that moment for me was, I was on a train, and I was eating a Burger King, and I ate this Burger King a little bit too quickly. And a normal human being in this situation would get indigestion. But I managed to give myself a stitch. So I've eaten this Burger King so fast, I've managed to convince my own body it's exercise. Trying to lose weight. Trying to lose weight as well. I think if you are trying to lose weight, it's important that you set yourself goals. The goal that I've set myself is, I now want to get to a stage where my hands no longer ripple when I use a Dyson Airblade. something I like to call the impossible dream. Cheese is the reason that I've put on most of my weight. I love cheese, and one of my favourite dishes is nachos. And I went to a Wetherspoons quite recently, and I went up to the bar and said, "Oh, is it all right if I order some nachos?" And the person behind the bar went, "We're really sorry, but it's not on this season's menu." And I said, "Really? That famous seasonal dish, nachos. Don't you find it's always the first to suffer when there's been a poor harvest?" Tried exercising as well to help me keep fit. So I've joined a five-a-side league, and the thing I've realised from joining this five-a-side league is you cannot trust laddie people to come up with mature team names. Like, I always feel sorry for the announcer of our league, because they've got to try and say with a straight face, "Right then, guys, gather round. On the back pitch, we've got Ball Bag Wanderers versus Leave My Barcelona. And on the front pitch, you've got the grudge match between Inter My Nan and Inter Your Nan." Where I'm from in Brighton, I watch a lot of local football as well. And there's one team in Brighton called Whitehawk. And they're called Whitehawks. Their team nickname is the Hawks. Very clever. And I went to one of their games, and one of the players scored a goal. And to show that he was a true Hawk, his celebration when he scored was he just started flapping his arms about and strutting about the pitch. And the Hawks, the fans, they went mental for it. They loved it. But one person behind me, he wasn't that impressed with that celebration. He turned to his friend and went, "Well, that's all very well, but technically speaking, I think you'll find Hawks actually glide." It's almost one of those, isn't there? I am trying to give up alcohol as well, because that's when I eat really bad food as well. But another thing with alcohol is rounds. It's such a British thing. It doesn't happen in any other... Who gets stuck in a round? There's always one person that sneaks out of a round, isn't there? We've got one of those in our friendship group, and he's got himself... Is that you? Do you know what we call the one in our friendship group? Where's Wallet? But rounds is a weird thing as well. Have you ever tried to offer someone a drink that's already in a separate round? It's like you're trying to break them out of a cult. "Oh, Dave, would you like a drink?" "I'm so sorry. I can't accept that. I'm already in a round." When I was younger, I wanted to impress girls. And I thought the best way to impress girls is learn a musical instrument. At that point, what I should have learned was the guitar, because I will tell you what is not a sexy instrument: the French horn. I remember the lecture when they told us about all these instruments. Like, one teacher would come up and they'd play the saxophone. They'd tell you all about Jerry Rafferty, and they played Baker Street. Wow, that's so cool. Nothing good has ever been played on the French horn. At least with the guitar, you can sort of make that sexy, cool, brooding face, can't you? With the French horn, the best you can manage is constipated. And going up to house parties when I was growing up, you know, there'd always be some cool guy in the corner playing something like Wonderwall with everyone gathered around him. I tell you what you didn't see: some prick in the corner on a French horn playing When the Saints Go Marching In. And I will tell you just how bad the French horn is as well. I've been doing some research into this instrument, and the French horn is not French. The French horn was invented in Germany. So the Germans have invented this monstrosity and gone, "Oh, fucking hell, we better blame that on the French." You guys have been lovely. I'll leave you with this. The main thing I'm worried about is I don't want to end up back in a call centre, because I find call centres soul-destroying jobs. And when you're there, you find yourself, you're having to create your own entertainment. So, for example, every time I got a Miss Jackson on the phone, I try and subtly sneak in the line, "Look, I am sorry, Miss Jackson. No, I am for real." Needless to say, Comedy Store, I could barely contain myself the day that I actually got a Mr. Bombastic on the phone. That is right, I'm ending on a Shaggy reference. You guys have been lovely. Keep supporting this gig. I'll hand you back over to Alex. I've been Alex Petrovic. Good night!
Awesome. Alex Petrovic. What a great end to the show. It's been a really good show. I hope you've enjoyed it.